So if I had to use one word to describe this film, I think I have to say it has style.
Welcome to The Running Man.
The Running Man 2025 is set in the near future, in which the show titled The Running Man is a top-rated show on television in a deadly competition where contestants must survive 30 days while being hunted by professional assassins. Desperate for money to save his sick daughter, Ben Richards, played by Glen Powell, is convinced by the show's ruthless producer, played by Josh Brolin, to enter the game as a last resort. Now, what I like to do in all of my reviews is give you the positive first, because I like to think that I'm a positive person. Going into psychology, so I hope I'm a positive person. I don't want to add depression to people's depression. That wouldn't be very good. One of the most positive things about this film, one of the things that I will always give it credit for, is that it has top-notch acting. Glen Powell does a fantastic job in delivering a emotional and just entertaining performance that just carries this film forward. And obviously, he's the star of the film. You would hope he's entertaining. You would hope he would have this emotional resonance to him. And he does. He does a great job. He clocks into work. He delivers a fantastic performance. No complaints. Josh Brolin, who plays the manager of the Running Man show in this film, attempts to steal the show because he delivers one of the most realistic performances of a villain in a film that I've seen, and it's kind of unsettling that he does it so well. And he has charisma. He has very good charisma. And speaking of charisma, Coleman Domingo, who plays the show's announcer, is just a personal fan favorite of mine. Everything I've seen him in, I've loved him in. The guy just oozes charisma. He's just an entertaining person to watch. And last but certainly not least on my list to mention is Michael Cera. He's not in it very much, but the scenes that he's in, he delivers a hilarious and very fun performance. It's one of the more different roles I've seen him play, and I've got to admit, I really enjoyed this more confident and capable character that he played. I dare say it suited him really well in a weird way. And moving on past acting, the second positive I wanted to give this film is the story. Now, this is obviously based on the 80s movie The Running Man starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is also based on the book written by Stephen King. And with all of these layers of adaptation at play here, the film still manages to feel fresh. It doesn't feel new, which is kind of an oxymoron, but I'm going to get to that later, trust me. The film managed to have its own energy and vibe to it that didn't make it feel overly derivative. It definitely managed to stand on its own without needing any prior knowledge to the previous entries with the 80s movie or the Stephen King book. The story is fun and exciting, and for the first two acts of the film, you're not really tempted to check your watch. You're just locked into it, you're watching what's going on, and you're just along for the ride. Pretty good. And the second to last positive I wanted to make sure that I mention, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, is that the film has a style. And most people might think that this is kind of just a weird thing of mine that I just wanted to point out that it, has like this visual style to it. But it's important because it helps it stand out in a sea of just generic sci-fi movies. Visually and thematically, it commits to this hyper-realistic version of the future that feels very distant, but also familiar at the same time. It seemed to me like they were trying to hit notes of the 80s version without exactly recreating it one-to-one, and I think they achieved it very well. It kind of has like this Total Recall vibe to it. And the last positive I wanted to mention before we get on to the not so great things is that the film has a lot of humor to it. Not all the jokes land, but such as comedy. It's completely subjective, so if you think it's funny, you think it's funny, and that's great. But if my screening is anything to go off of, and I swear to God, there was this older couple sitting next to me, they laughed at every single funny beat, emotional beat, action beat. They thought it was a comedy. So if that's anything to go off of, I think the general audiences are going to find this movie pretty humorous. Oh, and one really quick thing to mention, this film is rated R, and it does do a lot to elevate the comedy, ironically enough, and it also elevates the action. But it didn't feel rated R, if that makes any sense. Like, it felt like kind of the very top edge of PG-13. It didn't feel like super mature to me, I guess. Visually, anyway. Thematically, kind of. I don't know what I'm saying. It's rated R, but don't be worried about it. Think that's what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're going to go with that. Okay, now moving on to the not so positive things. And unfortunately, I feel a little bit more passionate about these than I do about the positives. First things first, this film is 2 hours and 13 minutes, and it definitely feels like it. The first and second act really keep you locked in, and it really is engaging and interesting, and you're just along for this ride, right? And then the third act, no pun intended, it doesn't quite stick the landing. Towards the end of the film, it really felt to me like the writers just wrote themselves into a corner, and didn't quite know how to wrap up the film. And they did the best that they could, but the way that they chose to do it was kind of gnawing off their own leg. And for the sake of spoiling anything with any of the major story beats, that's kind of all I'm going to say about it, because I want you guys to have your own opinions and your own perspectives, and I don't want to spoil the ending of this film. But it just left a lot lacking for me. And lastly, and perhaps the most negative thing I could probably say about a film, is that I felt like I'd seen it before. And no, that's not a pun or a joke regarding seeing the prior movies and, having seen it before. That's not really what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it doesn't feel new in the source material that it's talking about. Namely, feels kind of like the Hunger Games. I mean, if you really sit there and think about it, you have the reluctant protagonist that doesn't really want to be involved but gets dragged into it. You have the guy behind the curtain kind of running everything secretly. You have the games themselves, in which the fans and everybody can kind of interact with them. They're live streaming it, they're watching it, they can send GIFs if they want to. And then even right down to the announcer who's announcing it and wearing the flamboyant costumes and sitting on a stage and talking to the audience. It's very similar. And the most disappointing thing of all is I wish I could tell you that it's better than the Hunger Games. Frankly, I just don't feel like it is. And trust me, I really wanted to feel like it was. Because going into this, I was razzing my girlfriend, telling her they're finally making a Hunger Games for the guys, and it's going to be amazing, and I'm going to love it. And I liked the movie. It just wasn't better than the Hunger Games, and it also wasn't an amazing sci-fi movie that left you with something to think about. In the end, The Running Man 2025 is a solid enough movie with fantastic acting and a story that's good enough to keep you locked in for the majority of the film. If you can go into a movie and you can watch it and be satisfied with what you saw and leave and never really think about it again, and that's fun for you, then genuinely, this will be a very good movie for you. But on the other hand, if you're somebody like me who likes to watch these types of movies and clearly talk about them afterwards and dissect them and really think about them, you're probably going to find a lot of gripes with this film. But overall, I do have to say that for most people, The Running Man 2025 is definitely worth the price of admission. So that's going to do it for my review, guys. If you like this video, please consider dropping me a like. It really helps out the channel, and it helps you guys get more content that you want to see. If you guys have seen The Running Man and you want to talk about it in the comments below, please do that. I love talking about these stuff with you guys. The Nuremberg video that I had that hit 20K and had 100 comments, I was more happy about the 100 comments than I was the 20K views. You guys are awesome. I love engaging with you. I love talking about films. One of the best things about doing this on YouTube. And if you like this review and you want to see more like it, or my trailer reactions, or anything else that I put on the internet, please consider dropping a sub. We are 100 subscribers away from hitting 500. That was my milestone for this year, and I really do think we can get there. So thank you guys so much, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.